Welcome back, everyone, to the Triple Threat Podcast. We are Mikai, Donald, and Preston. And today you see another face on the screen because we are here with a special guest that is Connor Corbin. Connor, introduce
Yes,
yourself.
sir. Yes, sir. My name is Connor. I'm a friend of these boys, these wonderful men. We all grew up together, went to the same high school. I'm a Twitch streamer as well, so I'm gonna tag myself in the video, Corb underscore TG1. TG stands for the greatest. But I'm ready to have an amazing time on this amazing podcast. Let's get this started.
All right, so today we're doing something a little bit different. We are doing the state of our teams. This is going to be an upcoming series. You're going to see it once or twice a year when the NFL and the NBA. A lot of times people are talking about a team, but they're not watching a team every week. They're not diehard fans. They're not in the ins and outs and in the scopes of a team. And a lot of times we're talking about teams that we're not in the scopes of. But in these episodes, we're going to talk about teams that we do watch every week because we're going to really break down our favorite team and what's going on with them, what's good, what's bad, and what's awful. And speaking of bad and awful, Donald, the New York Giants just fired head coach Brian Daboll. Jackson Dart's out this week, and Jameis Winston is the starting quarterback. You're on the clock. What is the state of the New York Giants? What's pressing? What do you got to say?
You guys know I've been waiting all week for this. This is getting, I'm getting sick and tired of this. This has been a yearly cycle with the New York Giants. They've started out bad, gotten one or two wins, and then everything falls apart after like week 5 or 6. It happened last year versus the Seahawks. It happened this year versus the Eagles. We pull up a crazy upset, and everything goes flying down a hill. Brian Daboll fired. That was the right move. I don't know how Joe Shane is still a part. Joe Shane is still a member of this football team. He was part to blame as well. You brought Daboll and Shane in. Shane brought Daboll in. You bring them both in. You fire them both. You don't leave one and not the other. That's the first thing I need to say. Shane
Didn't
has to go with Brian Daboll.
didn't,
Also, I think Daboll could have saved himself by firing Shane Bowen. That was the main downfall of the Giants. All the defensive problems have been on Shane Bowen. I think if Daboll actually stood up for himself and fired Bowen, the Giants would have won a couple more games, and Daboll probably could have saved himself with how much promise Jackson Dart had. The reality is he didn't, and that ultimately led to his downfall. Jackson Dart, yes, out this week. He's in the concussion protocol. I heard he's fine. Jordan Rannon tweeted today that he is fine. They're just being cautious with him because he's a rookie. Famous Jameis. I think it's the right call. Russ obviously has not looked great. It's sad because Russ is an amazing quarterback and it sucks to see him like this, but it's just not the idea. I know Connor's over there going to be pissed if I say anything bad about Russ.
Yo,
So I'm not going to comment on that, but I like Jameis. I think this is going to be fun. We're finally getting the Jameis Winston experience versus the Packers, who just allowed 10 points to the Eagles, and that's it. So we're going to see if Jameis has a Jameis game or a Jameis game. He's either going to throw for 5 touchdowns and 500 yards or 500 yards and 5 interceptions. It's could be really one or the other right now. But I'm just so sick of the same thing year after year after year. Like, this is what they did with Gettleman. They brought in Gettleman, and then he hired Pat Shermer. Great. He was good for a season. Then he fell. But then instead of firing them both, they kept Joe Judge, and then Joe Judge was fired in 2 years, and then Gettleman was fired. I think if you fire one, you have to fire the other. I keep saying this. I've said this to you guys about 10 times already this week. This is a problem with the New York Giants, and it all stems back to John Mara. Prayers to him. I know he's going through cancer treatment right now. Please, for everyone's sake for the Giants, step away from the team. For your health, first of all. And second, you are running this franchise into the ground, sir. You have literally started the downfall. You ruined the rest of Eli Manning's career, first of all. You traded Odell Beckham for a bag of chips. That led you nowhere. You let Saquon Barkley walk and then have him win a Super Bowl with the Eagles. And now you are just running them into the ground. I can't think of one correct decision outside of like maybe a first round draft pick that John Mara has made with the Giants in the last 15 years. They've had 2 winning seasons since 2013. Two. This is a historic franchise. One of the only franchises to win, I think the only franchise to win a Super Bowl in 4 different decades. This should not be the state of this football team. The Giants should be a good football team year after year after year, and it started with John Mara. For the Giants' sake, you literally had banners flying over the stadium saying that please fix the football team, and he has done absolutely nothing to help them. I think that for the Giants to be better, John Mara has to sell the team.
It reminds me of Washington when they had Dan Snyder all those years, and Dan Snyder could never do anything right. Dan Snyder finally sells the team. Their first year with Josh Harris and Magic Johnson, they're in the freaking the conference championship. But you've got
Yes.
every right to be frustrated. I mean,
I
it,
just, we finally have some promise with Scadaboo and Dart. This is great. We have some sort of a future, but we have an inability to prepare for the future. Jalen Hyatt, Deontay Banks, both should have been traded at the deadline. Jalen Hyatt isn't even getting snaps. Gunnar Olszewski is playing over Jalen Hyatt. Why even keep him on the roster? I heard preseason they were gonna have him return kicks. Why is he even on the roster? He's not even gonna return kicks. It's just wasting a roster spot. Graham Gano, quite possibly the worst contract in Giants history. I'm still pissed about that, man. They gave him 3 years, 36 mil. They gave a 38-year-old Graham Gano 12 million a year. Same with Darius Slayton. What are those contracts? What are those contracts? Yes, they gave them both 12 million a year, and if they cut him, it's all in dead cap. Graham Gano is currently on the IR. Younghoe Koo is back at kicking next week for the Giants. These contracts and overall decision making, I don't know how Joe Shane didn't get fired with Brian Daboll. I really don't. I really don't. And I'm kind of just in that. I don't really want to watch Sunday because I'm getting sick and tired of watching them, but I'm going to anyway because Jameis is playing. But there's just no bright spot outside of Scadaboo, Dart, Neighbors, and a couple other guys that I can really think. And this season literally feels so much better than last year, and yet we have the same record at the same point in the season.
I mean, I think they should just clean house, if I'm being honest. But
That's what I mean. I don't know how they haven't cleaned house yet. Daboll had a great first
I
season.
think there's only the owner can only do so much for a team. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it starts with getting a new coach, but I didn't think Daboll was the problem. He was the one doing more of the drafting than who's the GM again?
Joe Shane.
Oh, Shara, yeah, Shane, yeah. He was the one who wanted Dart. He went out, traded up, got him. He wanted Neighbors. Shane wanted Odunze, got the better receiver. I don't know, man. It just seems like they're not on the same page. You don't like, especially with someone who hasn't been there for a while. You don't want a GM just kind of filling in another unnecessary coaching hire when it's you're the problem. So I think he needs to go. I don't hate that they promoted Kafka because Kafka can definitely lead a team, but then again, I like him. I just don't think he should be the head coach, and he's definitely going to be gone next season. I feel like the Giants are not in a bad spot, but they definitely could have did this either at the end of the season, or they could have probably got rid of the GM first. I think that's what they should have done.
So personally. I agree with that. I mean, I think that's what they should have done. I think Daboll got a lot of heat for a lot of the problems that weren't his fault. I think the overall thing was that just the defense and him not firing Bowen and taking accountability that was a bad hire was a big problem and ultimate firing point. But I will say there is some optimism. The Giants have a very promising roster. This roster is much better than the record. I think you all can say that. The roster is much better than the record actually shows. And I think that there will be some good appeal for head coaches. My ideal scenario is, I want Bowen gone. I want Kafka gone. I want them to clean house. I want Joe Shane gone too. I would like Brandon Brown to be promoted to GM. He's the assistant GM. He was a scout for a while. Then he came to the Giants, worked his way up. He was assistant GM to Joe Shane. I'd like him to get promoted, and then I'd like John Gruden as my head coach, and I like him to call offensive plays. I want Antonio Pierce as my defensive coordinator, and then OC I'm still up in the air about because I don't really know what that would really look like if John Gruden's going to be calling plays. So maybe someone who pairs well with him. But I think that the main thing that I want is I want an experienced head coach. The Giants' last 10 years of coaching have all been experimental offensive coordinators, offensive coaches, quarterback coaches. I want an experienced head coach who has some sort of track in the NFL, whether that be a former one who turned OC, fine. But I want some coach with head coaching experience.
And there'd be two guys that come to mind when I think head coaching experience. One, Cliff Kingsbury. I think bit of a weak cycle. Cliff Kingsbury will be one of the best options. He had the Cardinals at 12-4, and Arizona hasn't even tasted that much success since they fired Cliff Kingsbury. He can lead an offense, and the Giants. He has a quarterback that he can use just like he used Kyler Murray, just like he used Caleb Williams in college, and Jackson Dart. And I think he'd be great for that. But also, if you're gonna go with a defensive option and one that really screams New York football to me, it's got to be Brian Flores. Brian Flores will get this team the penalties, the mistakes, all the stuff that's been plaguing the Giants for the last 20 years. I really feel like Brian Flores could come in and clean it up. So those would be my top two guys for that job.
Preston, you look like you agree. Yeah.
I have to disagree with the Brian Flores type of pick. Brian Flores is a demon of a human being. I mean, he completely ruined Tua for a bit. Like we all
Or
understand that
ruined
he
himself.
really he ruined Tua. He ruined Tua. He absolutely messed with that guy's emotional well-being. I believe that has to partly do with how he is as a quarterback today. And Jackson Dart, if anything, I believe he'd be the most perfect guy for him. But the thing is, Brian Flores, the New York would have to enforce themselves upon a mindset of like what New England has had, what currently the Eagles has had, or San Francisco over the past decade or so, right? It's a very regimented, very militaristic type of style of play. And Flores is a defensive coach, so he's gonna go out. He's gonna tell the GM, "Get me a guy like Caleb Downs in the draft," because you know that the Giants are gonna be top five. So he's gonna want Ruben Bain right there, just for literal. I assume that they're gonna get rid of Kayvon Thibodeau, right? I assume that he's
Um,
gonna be gone.
I think they
It's a
like where they're
crowded
at with
edge
him.
room.
It's
Yeah.
hard to say. Yeah, if anyone was to go, it's probably him. I don't know what his trade value looks like because he's been really good, but this is like his first real breakout year.
You
He had
can't
10 and a half.
Mhm.
He had
rushers.
he had 10 and a half sacks a couple years ago. I don't think they're. I think he's gone. And I think they
Mhm.
like where they have with Darius Alexander and Dex, and then Abdul Carter and Brian Burns on the outside. So I think Kayvon's probably gone, unless they convert him to linebacker, which I did hear rumors about. Because that's where he was in college. He was a linebacker in college, but I just think he's gone too far gone as an edge rusher for them to convert him back now.
Peter Woods would be nice.
Yeah.
Peter Woods would be really nice.
It, it,
Yeah.
if I'm looking at next year, I want Caleb Downs in the draft because we really need secondary help. I mean, them not paying Xavier McKinney and Julian Love is going to be two moves that haunt them for a while. I mean, that I still don't get how or why you didn't, but like can't do anything about it now. I think Caleb Downs is best fit, and I think they go get like a guy like Jalen Waddle. I know there was a lot of smoke about it, but I really do think that he's a good fit next to Neighbors. But, I guess we'll have to see. Maybe we'll leave it up to maybe Shane does get fired and they give it up to a new GM, but the early reports are that he's not getting
I don't know. I would not. I wouldn't go safety top five. I don't care how good Caleb Downs is. That is not a skill position of need. Um, you
He's
don't. I
young.
don't even think you draft. I barely even think you draft corners that high. Like personally, but I mean, because I remember when the Ravens drafted Kyle Hamilton. Originally, I hated that pick because it's like obviously he's a really good player, but I'm just like you're drafting a safety top 15 in the draft. And it's just like that is like the last position I think an NFL team would need, especially a team like the Giants. I don't think Caleb Downs is a position of need. They definitely need help in other spots. I know they improved with their offensive line, but there's definitely some they could look there. They could definitely look to go Peter Woods and I mean, not saying Dexter Lawrence isn't that guy anymore because he definitely is, but he's getting older. Um,
I honestly
they
think Dex
what?
is going to get traded. I could see
Wow.
I could see Dex getting moved more than anyone. He doesn't seem very happy with the organization how it's being run, and I think honestly he would be the first to go over Thibodeau too, because I think Dex is getting older, and I think they can still get a lot of good value out of him. They could probably get a couple. They could probably get a first or two for him with how he's at, and I think that they would really like to have that compensation.
I don't know if they get two first for him. He's up there in age. That's like saying Chris Jones is getting two first. I don't know
That's
if you
amazing.
get one.
Highest paid DC in the league, Chris Jones.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to see because this draft is definitely very intriguing. There's definitely a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I think the Giants don't go in the direction of killing Downs. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he could definitely be generational, but sometimes you go for the generational talent, it doesn't help your team. It hurts your team.
A lot of
But
draft talk, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more draft talk when that time comes. But before we move on, any final thoughts about the Giants from Preston, Connor, or you, Donald?
A little thing about the Giants. I I hate to say it, I really think that they have a good foundation
Yeah.
with Scatterbo, with Dart, with Brian Burns. He's an excellent passer. I mean,
He's been
they
incredible.
completely fleeced Carolina. They completely fleeced Carolina. And Abdul Carter's just gonna get better. Hopefully he's gonna start getting sacks. If he starts getting sacks, then in my opinion, he's already a top 15 edge rusher in the league. Um, if anything, you have to work on protecting Jackson Dart. I don't know what the Giants have done for the past decade and not getting their O line better, right? I don't know what they've been doing in regards to that. And it's just been bust after bust after bust. So, like you said, Donald, I'd be interested to see if they get a different scouting department.
Yeah.
Start looking into literally San Francisco. Go get somebody from San Francisco. Go get somebody from Philly. Go get somebody from Baltimore. Go get somebody from Washington. Literally get all these guys that you know that are literally known to be good drafters, good scouting departments, and create something great right there. Because I do believe the Giants can be with however the direction the Eagles or the Cowboys are going or Washington, they could be in that mix and they could be high 2 seed in the East NFC East
Yeah.
mix so far.
This has been the best O line we've had, and it's shown. The offense has been. This is the best offense we've had in. I don't even know how long. The offense has been better than it's been. I think better than 2022 season when we made the playoffs. Personally, um, I think that it's been much improved. We hired a new O line coach, and it's definitely been a lot better. It also helps that Dart is really good at scrambling, and I think that's something. I think the one thing you need to teach him to do is slide because
Mhm.
he goes in head first.
He
He
got
goes in head first with everything. So I think if they teach him to slide, that'll be a big thing. But overall, the foundation, depending on who they hire in the offseason, will let me know the direction of the franchise for the next 5 years.
Speaking of foundation, let's get into the Saints.
Trash.
5 years
Trash,
ago,
trash.
5 years ago, Drew Brees left the game of football. And listen, when you lose one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, it's not gonna get back. You're not gonna get good quickly. The only team that lost a quarterback that played for like 10 to 15 years and was like an all-time great, though I wouldn't call Big Ben an all-time great personally. He was meddled in like mediocre most of his career, is the Steelers. And the Steelers have the best coach in the league. So
No, they don't.
one of the best coaches
No,
in the league. So
No,
it's
he isn't.
understandable that
No.
why the Steelers
no.
have taken.
Wait. You got to do Ben Roethlisberger? Oh my
First of
God.
all,
No
I
way. You
am
don't
just
do
doing
did
Ben
Ben.
Ben
like that.
Roethlisberger like that.
No.
Whoa. What did you,
If
how
you
did you
say,
get
when
there
you
with
say
Ben?
Eli Manning was elite his whole career, I wouldn't call Big Ben that elite.
First of all,
Ben
Brian,
Roethlisberger. Did you see his rookie year? Oh my
He had a
God.
great
Like,
rookie
come
year.
on.
So did Joe
Come
Flacco.
on.
So did
He's
Joe
been
Flacco.
consistent. He was consistently an excellent quarterback outside of his problems. But come on, man.
first of
Come
all,
on, man.
also, Mike Tomlin is not the best coach in the league. Brian Daboll has more playoff wins the last 5 years than Mike Tomlin.
Mr.
Ben
Fox.
Dude, Mike
Roethlisberger
Tomlin is
threw
washed.
418 touchdowns and 211 assists. Okay, he's an all-time great. He's an all-time great.
Yeah,
That's my.
thank you.
The Steelers are the only team to lose an all-time great and still be competitive the next year. But still, if you're the Steelers, are you winning a Super Bowl anytime soon? No, you're not. No, you're not. Not with Aaron Rodgers. Not with Mason Rudolph. Not with Kenny Pickett. New England lost Brady. Originally, it was good under Mac Jones. Mac didn't work out. They cleaned house and they got the freaking this demon, this amazing specimen of a quarterback in Drake May.
Drake May.
Okay, you drafted well. You got Drake May. The Titans, for some reason, fired Mike Vrabel, a great coach, and then you lucked down, and now you've got your future for the next 15 years. So Patriots good, Steelers Um, Green Bay, Green Bay did what I wanted the Saints to do for a long time, which is playing your future while still having the guy on the roster. He drafted Love while still having Rodgers. He learned behind Rodgers, and he came into light. And now Green Bay, they're a good team. They didn't have to deal with 3-13 and 2 wins for years after losing their guy. And the Saints, they didn't do any of that. They did not draft a replacement after Breeze retired. Their idea was Jameis Winston. And it was working. It was working for a while. And then he tore his ACL, and that's that. And so most of the Saints issues I think stem from quarterback. I had to watch Trevor Siemian play for. I don't even know where Trevor Siemian is right now. I think he's in Chicago as the
Check.
quarterback. He started half a
Yeah.
season. Taysom Hill, who's not a quarterback, but he started half a season. Ian Book started the game. Um, it's been bad.
Andy
It's just
Andy
been
Dalton.
Andy Dalton. For some reason, the Saints were like, we need a quarterback, and then they went and paid Andy Dalton 15 million. What? And then Derek Carr, that was supposed to be your savior. Derek Carr, it just didn't work out. He was never. When I think of Saints football, Carr was never the guy. He was never going to be the guy in New Orleans. The way he carries himself, the way he responds to media, the way he does with pressure, it doesn't fit the New Orleans football. It doesn't fit New Orleans football. And so you got Rattler. I liked Rattler. A lot of people say he was benched prematurely. Listen, he threw for 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He fumbled the ball once. That's 8 touchdowns and 6 turnovers. That's not starting quarterback football. That's not starting quarterback football. If Jalen Hurts did that, he'd be benched. If any good quarterback put up those numbers, he'd be terrible, right? Shough has played 2 games now, 2.5 games, and I've already seen so much more than I saw from Spencer Rattler. I don't know if we have our quarterback of the future yet. Because look, Jameis Winston played 5 good weeks. Any backup or starting quarterback can play 5 good weeks of football. Kyle Allen was freaking 4-1 a few years ago with the Carolina Panthers. You need to do it over extended period of time, like Jackson Dart. Dart's proven himself. He's coming in against good teams and he's played good football for an extended period of time. And Tyler Shough, he was amazing. That's what I want to center most of my talk about. He was amazing. I mean, I've seen a lot of people hate on Shough before he even got in the league just because of his age. Listen, he's 26. Okay. Most quarterbacks can play till 34. You can still get 5 to 7 good years out of this guy. Um, Against the Panthers, he didn't turn over the ball. It was the first time a Saints player didn't turn over the ball in like 3 weeks. He threw 2 touchdowns, completed 70% of his passes, a 128.9 passer rating against a defense that's been shutting guys down this year. He made a throw on 3rd and 14 to Chris Olave, and Chris Olave one-handed it. I listen, wasn't the biggest fan of Chris Olave, mainly because of the concussions. I mean, he's one serious brain issue away from us potentially having a conversation on whether he should step away from football. So personally, we traded Rashid Shaheed at the deadline. I personally wanted to keep Shaheed. I think he's extremely fast. I think he's a great asset. And I think you can build around him as a wide receiver 2 or 3 and not have to worry about the injury concerns like Olave. But Olave, he shut me up. I think you can build around Olave as a wide receiver 1. And Tyler Shough, if he keeps it going, you can build behind Tyler Shough. Listen, you get the Falcons twice, you get the Dolphins, you get the Jets, you get the Titans. This guy, he might start challenging Jackson Dart for offensive rookie of the year. I mean, with this schedule. But it mainly what the Saints are 2-8, and it's mainly because it's not a talented roster. It's not a talented roster. It hasn't been a talented roster. Even with Breeze, it wasn't a talented roster. You just had one of the most amazing quarterbacks of all time. You did have a talented defense some years. For most of your careers, you did not have a talented defense. You had the worst defense in football. And you had a talented offense. You had Michael Thomas, but that's it. It was Breeze, Thomas, a little bit of Kamara, maybe Mark Ingram, Taysom Hill. It was 4 players controlling an offense. And that's not winning football. And now Kamara's still here. He has not been great this year. He had a good game against the Panthers, but I don't think he's a starting caliber running back anymore. He's getting older, and that's just how it is. That's just so you don't have a quality starting running back. You have a good wide receiver 1. What else? You traded a 4th and a 6th-round pick for Devon Vele, and he's got like 3 catches all year. That's the stuff that you're doing. That's like, how is an NFL team operating like this? Then you trade a 6 for Jalen Polk. I like it. He was a former 2nd-round pick. He was really good at Washington, but he's out for the year. Okay. Then your GM says you're not rebuilding, but you're trading for players that won't even play this season. That sounds like a rebuilding, whatever. Jawan Johnson, wide receiver turned tight end. He's got 500 yards this year, but he made a key drop that lost you the Cardinals game. He fumbled away the Patriots game, and he did the same thing last year. You have a guy on the team that you're paying $10 million to literally help lose games, but you're not rebuilding. Okay, the offensive line, Kelvin Banks hit it out the park. He's been incredible this year. He was going against the Rams, and he didn't allow a single sack. He's amazing. And that's finally you did it good on the draft. Felice Fuaga, also amazing. You guys were with me when we made that pick. I knew he was going to be a stud coming out of college. He's a great player. And the defense, oh my gosh, it's disgusting. I mean, Brian Brzee is really good. I like Grando a lot. You're still trotting out Cam Jordan in 2025. He's 34. He's still starting. And it's not even like he's producing. Calais Campbell, he's 40 and he's still getting sacks. I think Cam Jordan's got 1 or 2 sacks all year. The linebackers, you had Zach Bond, you had Trey Hendrickson. They're not here anymore. You know who's here? Pete Werner. Pete Werner's here. The corners, hey, you hit the Lattimore trade out the park. You traded him right as his decline started. And Alontae Taylor's been playing really good. Kool-Aid McKinstry's been playing really good. But Alontae is a free agent this offseason. The way the quarterback market works, he's probably gonna get $100 million. Can you pay him that as a
No, he's
rebuild?
not, bro.
You're not gonna pay him that. Safety, you signed Justin Reed. I think he's played pretty well this year. I don't know why you're signing a 30-year-old as a not rebuilding team, but whatever. Jonas Sinker, he's been one of the best young safeties in the league. I'm really happy about that. Blake Grupe, I think he's making like 70% of his kicks, and he's still employed. Graham Gano was playing better football than Grupe, and
No, I wasn't.
it's just stuff like this, and it all stems to Mickey Loomis. I hate when I have to be one of those fans that's like, oh, fire the coach, fire the GM. But Mickey Loomis should not have a job. He should not have a job. He only still has a job because he's best friends with Gail Benson. And Gail, they call Gail the most powerful woman in sports. And I love Gail. She does a lot for the Saints and Pelicans. But Miss Gail, your Pelicans have 2 wins. Your Saints also have 2 wins. Your 2 teams have a combined 4 wins on the season. Gil, you might be better off selling one of them. I'm not gonna lie. And so yeah, it's just not a good football team. It's not well built. It's not well coached. I think Kellen Moore hasn't been great. He's been dealt a bad hand, and so you're gonna give him another year no matter what. But he has not been great. I mean, they ran a halfback draw on a 3rd and 10 with Alvin Kamara. I'm watching this and I'm like, what is my team doing? This cannot be the same Kellen Moore that just walked down Steve Spagnuolo's defense in the Super Bowl. I'm confused. But that's it. The Giants, they have foundation. I don't think we have foundation. We have barely anything to look forward to on this roster. And I think we're going to be in the darkness for a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, okay. First of all, the Kellen Moore comment. Let's just call it what it is. The Saints are not the Eagles. There's obviously going to be a huge difference in
But
that.
halfback draw on 3rd and 10?
He did that. He did that last year. He did that last year. He did that last year.
You can
Did that
do it with
last year.
Saquon.
You can do that with Saquon and number 1 O-line. You can do that.
I feel like the Saints are in just such a confusing spot. They really are. They're just kind of there. The good thing they have going for them is they're in the worst division in football. So if Shough does keep playing well, they could compete pretty quick just because they have to face the Panthers and the Falcons 4 times a year. That's the one thing I'll say.
Yeah, they're in the worst division.
The Panthers are playing well. The Falcons, I have nothing to say about that. Nothing to say.
Like the Saints are such a confusing team to talk about. I think they gotta Shough looked good. I think if he went, what would you be happy with Shough finishing as a starter record wise? Because you obviously want to keep your tank up for your pick, but you want him to perform. What would be a happy?
I'm not too crazy about winning, but look at the schedule. You cannot get swept by the Falcons. I don't care if we're trying out Jake Hayner. I don't care who's the starting quarterback. Getting swept by a division rival, except if it's the Bucs, who are a perennial playoff team, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to get swept by Michael Penix and the Falcons. Should not happen. You have the Dolphins, the Titans, and the Jets. I expect you to win 2 of those games. The Jets can barely complete a pass. The Titans, I don't even know what's going on in Tennessee. They can barely complete a pass. You'll probably lose to Tampa. But that's it. I mean, if you get to 5 wins, that messes up your tank, but you'll still get a high-quality skill player at the 6th or the 6 or 7 pick, but but I would be fine with that. I mean, Rattler won 1 game in 12 games as a starter. That's also why he got benched. Like, yes, it's a bad team, but you won 1 game in 12 games. There are some quarterbacks that were bottom of the barrel that have won more. Nathan Peterman has a better record of a starter than Spencer Rattler. 1 game in 12 starts. Shough did it in 2. Shough did it in 2. So
I don't really know what else to say about this thing except they gotta rebuild.
rebuild. But
Kamara,
Mhm.
I think it should trade Kamara, bring in let Kendra Miller be the starting running back for next year. I think Olave's young. Olave's still young. They're fine. They can easily build around him. I think they just got to rebuild. Cut all your old guys, trade, and just fully rebuild. I don't know what you can get for Kamara anymore. They should have traded Kamara while they had the chance. You might just have to cut him. And that sucks, but
you might just have to retire. You might just have to force him into the league. Like, I don't.
I feel like Kamara can have like a career renaissance in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Like he can just go crazy in Kansas City. Like he'll randomly get 1,300 yards next year, rushing and then like
At 32,
or
I don't
500
know.
receiving.
He just looks so
Yeah,
much slower. In between the gaps, he just isn't like he doesn't look like he can get his mind straight. He's just running into defenders. He doesn't look the same.
like, I don't get it because
right.
McCaffrey and Kamara are the same age. They were in the
They
same.
are?
You
And
can't
McCaffrey's
compare
been killed
He's
3
McCaffrey.
had
times in his
major
career.
injuries. He's had freak injuries. Kamara's
They're
never
the,
had a major injury.
they're the same age?
First.
That's
McCaffrey's
insane.
McCaffrey's obviously the most talented running back in the league. So behind Jonathan Taylor.
MVP.
I also quickly want to say Mikai dissed Justin Fields pretty nonchalantly, but we're gonna move on from that.
So we had the 2-8 teams talk. Now we're gonna talk about the teams that are actually doing good. That both 2 losses. We're gonna start off with you, Connor, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. What's the state? I'm assuming it's pretty good of your Seattle Seahawks.
Good is an understatement. Great. The Seattle Seahawks. Listen, at the beginning of the year, everyone knows I was not a Sam Darnold believer. Not even just because like he came into those end of the year, the playoff game, and then the game against Detroit and put up 2 stinkers. But like honestly, his season in general last season, he was slinging the rock, but I was also like, he's also playing under Kevin O'Connell, 2 amazing receivers. What will he really do in Seattle? Because I was just like, I was also a Geno believer at the same time. I didn't care about the turnovers as much as I did. I mean, other people did because I thought, with every turnover, he would also come back and score a very clutch touchdown. But honestly, this is the greatest thing that's honestly ever happened to me, being a Seattle Seahawks fan. Because, like, I mean, I was so young when Russell Wilson was a rookie. So that means I was also young when they won the Super Bowl and went to the Super Bowl the next year. So, like, all those memories, like, I obviously remember them, but not as much as, like, the 2019. Just, like, we're average. We're making the playoffs, but, like, we're so mid. It's just mid. And, some people hate mid, but it's like, I also love John Schneider, who's our GM, and, like, I think, like, he's better than this. And also, the one thing I will say is, when we got rid of Pete Carroll, I was like, we better ace this because we are at a good spot. And we got Mike McDonald, best coaching hire, I think, of that like cycle. Honestly, best coaching hire in 3 years. He has been insanely good. Exactly. He's been incredible. Like, completely revamped the defense. Nobody thought we were going to be good. Everyone was like, okay, this could be a top 10 defense. I feel like this is a top 3-5 defense in the NFL. We don't stop tight ends as well as we could be, but it's also, the way we run the defense, the personnel. It's a 4 up top. They only rush 4, never blitz. So sometimes, they're sitting back in their zones. Those tight ends get out on the flat and, get those completions. And that's the one thing I will say about Sunday against the Rams. Will scare me a little bit. I don't think we're going to get killed by Puka. I really don't think we're going to get killed by Devontae as much. I think if they're going to kill us, it's going to be the tight ends. And I mean, obviously, Puka could go 100 yards. I'm slamming the under for him and Devontae, though, to be honest. I'm not scared of Kyron Williams. I still think he sucks. But, like, if I'm talking about, like, the state of the team, just in general, it's so promising because it's, like, we're so young. We got our quarterback for the future, our coach for the future. Everything like I love the way like the message. I love the way the team is ran. Everyone seems to like when you see a team, you can see like brotherly love. I guess like Philly, but it's just like they definitely have a good connection, and I feel like it's only up from here because like at the beginning of the year, nobody said this team would be a playoff team. Like they were literally projected to have 7 wins, and they already beat that by week 10. So it's just like that's very promising, and I feel like it's only up from here. And one thing they did that really surprised me is they went out and got Shaheed. Because listen, I was like, okay, if we're gonna make a trade, let's go get a guard. Let's go get a guard, and that's all I want. A guard. I was thinking Zeitler from Cleveland, or who knows, anyone else who's just a veteran and who could just like get on that line and just block for Sam Darnold. Honestly, the line has been very good this year, which is surprising because looking at it on paper, I did not think. Yeah, I did not think a line with a rookie on the one side, Anthony Bradford on the other side, and then another undrafted rookie. Well, not rookie, but he's undrafted. Last year he was a rookie on line, and they all been like moving defenses. To be honest, and it's just like that was like the one thing I was thinking like, okay, Sam Darnold won't be doing good like under pressure because that's what it seemed like in the playoff games. Second he was getting pressures, he was he was seeing quote unquote ghosts, but this year it hasn't been like that, and everyone got to give Sam Darnold his credit because I mean we got to see it this week against a really good Rams team, but it's like he kind of he brought out the light in JSN that all Seahawks fans knew JSN could be. Honestly, any Ohio State fan also knew about because JSN is elite. Um, but no, he's just playing a really good football, and then the defense is just flying around. I mean, I just it's just so much fun to watch them now, and we get into the Rams game, and it's just like that's like our only like you know besides the Rams, I don't think we have the Colts, but like those are the only two must-win games on our record. I don't want to split with the Rams. I want to beat them twice. I also want to like kind of like because there's a lot of people on Twitter that I've been just like talking to on Twitter because it's just like they're all haters, but they're all saying we're gonna get swept by the Rams. We're gonna get swept by the 49ers, even though they're the hospital team. And it's just like, I mean, I think we're better than the Rams, not because if you look at the rosters, the Rams are far more talented roster wise, and so are the Eagles. So honestly, so are plenty of other teams. The Lions, but honestly, I never believe it's about roster, and I think it's about coaching and scheme. And our scheme is the best in the NFL, best in the NFL, because we've had Ernest Jones out of games. Julian Love hasn't played a snap. We had our rookie safety out, and we're filling in with guys named Ty Okada, who I didn't know who he was before the start of the season. Baller. It's just like when you trust your coach, that you go so far. And I think everyone trusts their coach. They gave in at the beginning of the year, and that's the type of team you want to see. Offensively, Clint Kubiak, I pray he stays at the end of the year because I'm guessing he's going to get some looks as a coach. But I think personally he can put together a plan, and I hope it involves Shaheed because it was hidden. It was hidden against the Cardinals because we didn't really need to do anything against the Cardinals. We kind of kicked their ass in the first quarter, but it's like I think if I'm saying something about this Rams game, it's going to be a Shaheed bomb fest. 2 bombs to Shaheed. I don't know. One could be a touchdown. I think we're gonna. I'm underrated thing I'm gonna say is Kenneth Walker is gonna rush for 80 yards. Also, that's another thing.
Walker is not rushing for 80
He's
yards.
No,
not
he's
rushing
not.
for 80 yards.
Zach
It's not his
Charbonnet,
rookie.
he'll have 60 yards and a touchdown though.
No, Kenneth Walker is gonna surprise people this week. He is kind of ass, but like he's gonna surprise people this week. But no, I mean the future is definitely bright. I mean, there's not much more to say. That's all. I'll end with that, and then I'll move over to Preston because there's only 2 teams that scare me: the Rams and then the Eagles. But I'll move to Preston. But first, I gotta ask, what is AJ Brown and what is going on with AJ Brown, bro? Is that your guy?
I before this, I told Donald and Mikai, I'm gonna have to take a second to absorb a lot of this. It's been a while. No, I don't. It's never been in my life where I feel more excited for the Sixers than I do the Eagles. And that team is that
8-2.
team.
You guys are 8-2.
Yes,
7.
you don't understand. We're 7-2,
7-2. Whatever. You're
and
7-2.
no. Listen. This is the third year in a row. The third year in a row.
Oh my.
Actually, it's a bi-yearly thing at this point, right? It's bi-yearly. The one year, our first year with AJ Brown, right? Excellent. Shane Steichen, go crazy,
Thanks, thanks.
lose the Super Bowl. I miss him so much. I miss him so. I miss that man so much. We lose the Super Bowl. I go into next season. I'm like, this is it. This is it. We're going to be a dynasty. We draft Jalen Carter, and then we draft N'Kobe Dean. We go crazy. No, yeah, it was N'Kobe was the
Yeah.
previous year. We drafted Nolan. We drafted Jalen and Nolan, and I was like, man, imagine if we had Jalen Carter the year before, we would have destroyed the Chiefs. We would have destroyed the Chiefs. A rookie Jalen Carter would have destroyed the Chiefs, and we'd be three times Super Bowl champions. That 2024 season, 23, 20, yeah, the 24.
Brian Johnson.
The amount of pain that team put me through.
You guys jumped on Jalen Hurts' jersey in my basement.
Yes, we did. Because
Drew Lock.
we lost to Drew Lock because we lost to Drew Lock. And I've never felt so like embarrassed as a football fan before. I've never felt so embarrassed as a football fan. And then we go into the next draft, we get Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. That kind of reignited my, imagination. We get Saquon, and I didn't even think that was going to happen. And we win the Super Bowl with Kellen Moore. And originally I was like, Kellen Moore, I mean, his Dallas days, high octane offense, they were all over the place, flying all over the place, made Dak a great QB in the beginning. And seemingly they kind of fell off after he left. Now they're back. Really, they're back on like literal shootouts every week. And that was like the most fun Eagles football I've seen in a while. I mean, outside of that first 5 games where I thought the world was falling down and like we were gonna literally go and be a lottery pick again. But we win the Super Bowl. This season, in the off season, yeah, we lose guys. We lost Josh Sweat, we lost Milton Williams. We lose, we lose, in my opinion, this was the biggest loss for us, Mikai Becton.
Yeah.
Lost Mikai Becton. BG retired. He's back now. Now we're one of the youngest teams in the NFL, similarly to the Seahawks, incredibly young team. And I'm looking at my roster right now. I'm looking at this depth chart. I have one guy here over 30, and that's BG. That's BG and Adoree Jackson. Right? These are young guys, extremely young. It's an extremely young roster, and Kevin Patullo is the bane of my existence. See, every day I sit and I wonder, is today the day that he's just always like, it's over, right? Is this the day? And I look online. I'm like, is he gone today? No, I just feel worse. And each and every day, I hope like maybe today's the day that he's gone, like he's not here anymore, and I'm rid of this nightmare. And it just gets worse with AJ. Because if I'm being honest, AJ, he's a Philly guy. He does not want to leave. He's Jalen Hurt. Like, he does not want to leave. I do not believe he wants to
I
leave.
don't know if I believe that.
I don't know about that.
I don't believe that. And why I say that is Jalen is literally the godfather of his children. He's the godfather of his children. He enjoys it here. He won a Super Bowl here. It's a matter of him being a competitor. AJ's right. This offense sucks. We suck.
Terrible.
Our offense sucks. It's terrible. We're a high school offense. We are a high school offense with Saquon Barkley behind our offensive line. And yes, I can say our offensive line has been significantly worse especially with Cam Jurgens being not healthy. Lane is on his last legs. It hurts me to see that. Tyler Steen all over the place. Landon Dickerson hurt. He's been in and out of the lineup. Jordan Mailata has been the only consistent person on the O line, and still he's had a bit of an off year. And other than that, I Jalen is having one of his best statistical years passing in overall. He's having an amazing year, really a great year as a quarterback. It's just a matter of the integrity of this offense. And if I'm being honest, like Sirianni has a lot to deal with this.
I want I want to make
And I and as a head coach, right? Yeah, I expect you to be a great guy. Like he's the glue guy, right? He keeps the team going. That's why he still has a job. That's why he didn't lose his job in 2023.
You should have.
And that's because he's able to make people click. He's just a very, very good leader. And now it's like I don't know what to do. I really don't. And it has to be with his decision with Kevin Patul. Because you notice that the offense is down. You notice that Devontae is literally admitting that AJ and Jalen literally free-handed a whole play at the end of the game to get that touchdown play when Green Bay could have just walked down the field and got a field goal to tie the game or even a touchdown to win. They had a minute to do it.
That
They
was
could have just
stupid.
taken a field goal.
Nick
They could have
Riddle.
just taken a field goal and be up 6.
You would have punted
They could have
and
just
taken
taken the
that
field.
with five.
You had plenty of time. No, and then guess what you don't do? You don't let Saquon run. You do 3 straight pass plays. 3 straight pass plays. You have Saquon Barkley. Run the ball. You have Saquon, just run the ball. Straightforward. I wouldn't even be mad if you did like a QB run with Jalen at that point. I wouldn't even be mad. Right? Just run the ball. You have a minute left. Just run straight up the middle. He'll find something. He gets 6 yards. It's third and 4, right? That's manageable. 3rd and 11 is not manageable. And that's how bad Kevin Patul is because Jalen and AJ had to make up a play just to make sure that they had a chance. They had to literally freestyle a play just to make sure that they had a chance. That's probably how bad Kevin Patul's call would have been. I'm telling you, you probably would have done some Brian Johnson screenplay to Julio Jones type of play, right? Where, I really don't, Brian Johnson, he set a low for me. And I didn't think we could go lower than that, man. That's what, it's hard.
They're not going to change if they keep winning with him.
They're 7-2.
It's-
This is I'm not gonna, this is such a first world problem out of you. The Eagles, you're saying this team is like the bane of my existence. My team is coming off 2-8, 3 straight seasons. I have had to watch Tim Boyle, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, Jackson Dart, Daniel Jones, Jake Fromm all play quarterback.
Simeon.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Eagles are in the championship window. They're
Yes,
right now.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
With one quick, they're defending champs, and they don't look like defending champs. They're squeaking out wins.
Yes.
I mean, the Packers are a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they were dominating the field position game. They got to put up more points than 10. That is not. I don't know. I don't care. That is not that exciting. I'm gonna be honest.
And
They're
even with
way
the
better
team
than
like the
this.
Giants, right? Like even with the team like the Giants, Donald, nobody expects you to win.
No.
Nobody expects the Giants
Besides
to
me.
win. Not even
Besides
right
me.
now.
Besides me.
Nobody expects them to win. And nobody has a higher level of excellence currently than the Eagles.
True.
Consistently a playoff team, consistently great mindset. Jalen Phillips literally was like, "This is the greatest day of my life," and he had a crazy game.
He must have had a
Like,
shitty ass life.
yeah, he was. That must have been
Not
horrible
bad.
in Miami. 'Cause he was sitting there. He was like, "This is the greatest day of my life. I've never been so happy. I woke up so happy this morning. I'm like, I'm a Philadelphia Eagle."
He was the
Then he
LeBron
plays like,
meme.
yeah, he plays like LT, and then I'm like, oh man, like he's he's gonna change. Him and Nolan Smith back, like it's literally gonna be demoralizing for the teams we play next. Even when I'm looking at our schedule, it's hard. It's a hard schedule, and that's partially because of how good we are.
Yeah, you're defending champs.
Yeah, we have Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, LA, the Chargers, Las Vegas, Washington, Buffalo, and then Washington again.
You have Washington twice.
Right.
You're talking about hard.
So
Yeah, that's like 3 hard games. I
No,
would even say
I'm
I would even say the Chargers are on
yeah,
that,
that's like 3 hard. Yeah.
or the Bears. Now the Bears.
And I'd say it's hard because of it's primarily away games.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's true.
It's
that's true.
primarily away games.
The Chargers
So
is a home
it's
game though.
yeah, the Chargers is nobody cares about LA. It's a home game. Last time we were in LA, you could see green and no yellow at all.
Did you
Yeah,
see
Right?
that's
Sunday
so
Night
true.
Football?
So
All the terrible
yeah,
towels in Sunday Night Football? Yeah, that was insane.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, LA, it's not a real football. They're a basketball town.
Yeah,
It's a basketball town.
baseball
But
town.
either way, like Mikai, look, I wouldn't want to be a Saints fan any day in my life.
That's
Really, I
so
wouldn't.
true. Brian
But
actually got.
what I have to say is like
It's like being a Grizzlies fan.
Grizz. But what I have to say is that I'd I'd rather be in a state where I can look at my team and be like, I have hope
I
than
don't.
where I am right now. Then
You rather be
okay, then let
me.
me look at
You
the
rather
chart.
be me.
I
Yes,
don't.
You
I'd
should be
rather be
looking at
you. I'd
me.
rather
I have some
no,
hope.
I wouldn't look at you and Makai and be like, yeah, I'd rather have like some type of hope for the future. When in reality, like I can go into next offseason, my wide receiver one will be traded, or that Lane Johnson will retire, or that
Yeah.
Landon Dickerson will be out for another season, right? Because he is literally playing with back injuries, leg injuries, and it's tough. And I understand we won the Super Bowl, but that was last year. That was last year. We're 7-2, but these aren't wins. These are just
Yeah.
beat up. Everybody tries to get out. We're literally just forcing our way through each game. And it's not like last year where we were going like, 30 plus a game. Everybody was going crazy,
Yeah.
great vibes, everything was great.
I want to make a
It's
point
it's, it's crazy.
about the coordinator position. People are gonna get on fans like the Eagles. Eagles fans are complaining, and they have a right to complain. When you get to the playoffs, every weakness you have
Gets
is gonna,
exposed.
is gonna get exposed. And if you have a guy who can, I think of the Packers and Joe Barry on defense a couple years ago. The Packers
Hmm.
literally were not running an NFL defense, and it got killed in the playoffs. Joe Barry got fired because it was terrible, and now they got the guy from Boston College, Heffley, and they have
Oh,
one of
he's so good.
the
He's so good. He's
He's
insane.
gonna be a head coach. He's gonna be a head
He's
coach.
being rumored
He'll
for the
be
Giants job.
Yeah,
That
he'll
would
be a
be
head
not
coach. He'll
fun.
be a head coach.
What people don't
He-
understand is who picks the coordinators. It's not the GM. This is the one decision the GM doesn't make. It is the head coach. The head
Yeah,
coach
Sirianni don't got that pull though. Like, I'll be honest.
He doesn't
periodically
have the pull.
second
Listen,
time.
it's his coach. His coaching tree isn't there yet. Actually, Shane is like his only good. He has like a baby coaching tree right now. His coaching tree, like Brian Johnson
That
sucked.
was just him hiring his guy. Like
Shane is a Frank Reich type. He's Frank Reich.
he's Frank Reich.
Coach literally coach off. Yeah, they're all Frank Reich. Yeah, he comes from that Andy Reid tree of people. He has such a crazy line, a crazy line. But I look at it this way, right? Sirianni's somewhat on a hot seat, not because that we haven't been producing, and it's not that we haven't been doing well. It's more or less because of the complete disorder of this roster, this offense. The offense powers you through the game. The defense is almost completely separate because Vic has them on lock. That defense is literally like just tight. I'm sorry. It's just like a lot, man. It's just a lot.
They have
Anything, anything I
Look.
say is going to come off biased because I have a Giants flag and background, a Giants hat.
Just
I genuinely mean this. I don't think Nick Sirianni is a good coach. I don't. I'm sorry.
He's not. He's
I
not.
don't.
He's
I
so
think
useless.
the Eagles. There's better options out there for the Eagles. I don't think he's a good coach. He was gifted a very talented roster for the majority of his head coaching
I
tenure.
disagree. I
Okay. The
disagree with
first
that.
year,
I
the first year,
disagree.
yeah,
Yeah.
the first year, yes, they built a good roster, but he has cost them a lot of games. That play versus the Packers was
Yes.
downright stupid.
The
That was the
fourth-
dumbest
Yes.
play I've ever seen. Why would you do
Yes.
that?
That's like abusing your
Yes.
talent.
Yeah.
Can't lie.
That it is. It is.
AJ Brown is unhappy. So what do? When it's 4th and 6 and 30 seconds left in the game, you call up a jump ball to him on
Oh,
to
wait,
get him
that
just
was
to
the
get him the target.
improvised play. That was Yeah, Donald, that was the improvised play. That
Okay,
was
okay.
like straight Jalen and AJ right there. Yeah,
I
I
just
wasn't
don't.
Nick.
I don't think he's a good coach. I think that there was better options that could lead them to better choices. Like I was saying earlier with the Giants about Brian, like who picks the coordinators. If Brian Daboll fired Shane Bowen, then he probably could have extended his job, but he didn't, and then the Giants lost games because of Shane Bowen. If Nick doesn't, you said that
already.
yes, he's not on this hot seat. Nick Sirianni just won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. He's not on the hot seat. That's a little bit of a stretch. I think you can. He's not on the hot seat.
I no, I see it as a more of ownership is kind of like, okay, they're just keeping because it's consistently been like this for 4 years. It's consistently been like this for 4 years. And that's not a good look on him. And he's
Okay.
already a
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
egotistical guy. So
Yeah.
it's hard.
Howie Roseman's
Yeah.
literally saving his job.
Yeah.
He is. He is.
I will also say, I've said this forever. I know Zach's getting to watch this. I said this to Zach so many times. It's time to unlock Devontae Smith. I say this everywhere. Devontae Smith would be a wide receiver one on over half the NFL's teams. He is so good. He won the Heisman. This guy won the Heisman as a receiver. That is so rare. You never see that. A receiver winning the Heisman, and he's wide receiver two on this team. It's time to unlock his full potential. It's time to trade AJ Brown and let Smitty cook. He is very, very good. He can do the deep ball. He can be a slot receiver. He is exactly what you want in a wide receiver one. And I think it's time for the Eagles to fully unlock that and trade AJ Brown. Obviously, it's nice having two elite receivers. That's what every team wants. But if AJ is this unhappy, I don't know if the Madden stuff is real or not, or if he's kidding. I really can't tell. He's so confusing sometimes. I think everyone can agree on that. But I've been saying this forever. It's time to unlock Devontae Smith and put him as your wide receiver one for the future. I know they're only 2 years in age difference. I know you love Devontae Smith more than anyone, Preston.
Yep, yep, and I agree. And I agree. I think it's time that and I believe Howie's really starting to consider it. And I think the fan base is starting to see Devontae is that guy.
Yeah.
He is in a position where he can do everything that AJ can, but better.
Yeah.
He's literally the best route. I will say he's a top three route runner in the NFL. He creates ridiculous separation. He's a jump ball machine. He has beautiful, amazing hands. He's fast. I mean, I have this jersey right here. The whole thing, my goal in life is to get his signature on here. I have Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship, and Kenny Gainwell's signature on here. I need his. That's my whole goal. And I truly do believe that this year specifically, yeah, Devontae can take over that wide receiver alpha role. And I see him as better than Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really do think Devontae's better than him. I do think Devontae's better than Alad McConkey. I do think Devontae's better than Nick Collins. I think he's better than Nico Collins. Even. I think he's better than Nico Collins even. Because of this. No. And I'm being so honest. When I say if you unlock his potential, this Heisman level receiver type of potential, the most decorated player of all time, literally, I mean, not many people have a Heisman, a Super Bowl ring, multiple college football championships. Like,
it's kind of true.
That's literally like that's yeah, and multiple Super Bowl winning plays. So and yeah, some of what I'm saying is a stretch, which I agree with, but I look at Devontae and I see if he's alone, if he's somewhere alone, like badly if he's with Drake May, he'd be top 5 in receiving yards easily. He doesn't get hurt either.
I mean, and the Seahawks know exactly what it's like.
Yeah,
they know exactly what it's like to trade their number one receiver. You know, we trade DK Metcalf, and I mean, JSM becomes the number one receiver. You know, in the league, he's the best receiver in the league. I mean, I'm not saying Devontae Smith's, you know, a JSN because I mean he is a little lower than that, but he's definitely, you know, I would put him in the top 10 conversation the second if he's a wide receiver one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's still getting held back by just being on the same team as AJ Brown.
That's the thing.
If they don't get rid of Patula, it's like
no, but like we're looking at next year's Preston. This is the thing I will say. You can put Devontae Smith in those conversations once we see him as a wide receiver one. Yeah, he's still a wide receiver two for now. If he does take that leap, if he does take that leap with AJ Brown gone, then I would put him in those conversations. But for me, he's not getting enough volume with the Patullo offense that he can really be in those conversations yet.
I want to say he's
I
wide
put
receiver too.
Devontae. I put Devontae in this way. I've seen him when he's had volume, specifically when he played the Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. That was straight amazing. That's the most receiving yards this season by a single receiver. And that was him by himself, essentially. And that was also just Jalen having a good game, too. But I do agree. We need to give him a year by himself. And I think it's kind of, I wish we could have had this talk when he was 24 or
For
25. He's
real.
about to turn 27 sooner or later. And
Teammates
it's gonna be interesting. This offseason is gonna be interesting. Yeah.
I mean, Preston, how do you feel about the Detroit game? Because I say that I'm saying this could say a lot about your team. You know, you're going against a team that has a very banged up secondary in
Mhm.
Detroit. You're at home, and then it's a night game. Also, you know, Detroit, it's all fireworks. So it's like your defense, you know, it's been playing good, but they're going to get tested with one of the number one
Yeah.
offenses, not the number one, but like top five offense in the league.
Dan Campbell's calling
But
plays now.
defensively, Detroit is not there. Defensively, Detroit's not there. This is the Eagles' chance, in my opinion, to go test a weak secondary and put up a little bit of numbers. So, how do you feel about this
Mhm.
game?
I feel I wouldn't say it's a trap game, and I wouldn't say that it should be a easygoing type of game. I think it's gonna be as like Titan beats Titan type of game, literal back and forth even. I do believe that this next week or two, the Eagles are going to try to fix this offense. They have to. They don't really have a chance, and they don't really have a choice to do that. And I'm very confident in this defense now that Nolan Smith and Jalen Phillips are in the game, and you have BG as a veteran role in there. And again, the line secondary sucks. You got Terry and Arnold back there. They could have had
Yeah.
Kool-Aid. They could have had Kool-Aid. They could have had Kool-Aid, and they picked Terry and Arnold. And Nate Wiggins. They could have either of those. But I do think this will be a game where it's like if we beat Dan Campbell, if we beat the Detroit Lions, if we hold Amon Ra, if we hold him to, I don't know, maybe like 80 yards receiving, that's something to stand on. That's definitely a type of path that we want to get to.
Yeah, I think they
But
have to beat
I don't
them.
really know yet.
I
Yeah,
think they got to
yeah.
beat them. They got to score. It could be a shootout, not like a crazy shootout, but I'm saying like, you know, in those low 30s. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We're running out of time because we want to keep this episode kind of shorter. But I do want to talk about
Mhm.
one more Eagles thing related. Something that's very controversial and is probably leaving us in the offseason. The brotherly shove / tush push. It's like, look,
Yeah.
I know you don't want to say it. It's gone. And I will say, look, every team
bro, it's
can run.
bullshit.
Every team can run it. That is correct.
but they
Mhm.
don't
But
call it. You don't.
I
That's
no,
right.
no, no, no. Here's the thing. If they don't ban it, fine. But they need to actually call it correctly and define what a tush push is.
Mhm.
That's what I think they need to do. They need to have actual rules on it. Because right now it's just up for discrepancy. You could have really anyone back there shoving your guy, but like they really need like to actually call the penalties that come with it because
Mhm.
you guys false starting makes it completely unfair if you can get that early push. And then they need to have like outlines of what a tush push is. That's what I'll let you talk about it for like a couple minutes.
And it has to deal with I do agree it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
They're gonna get rid of it. It's not even a QB sneak. It's a risk to the O lineman. And I think the Eagles O line has showed that especially Jordan Mailata, he did say it hurts. It hurts and it's like a lot of pressure on them. And if you guys haven't noticed, because I've watched every game, they've basically almost phased it out of the offense as a whole. It's being phased out heavily. Um, and I enjoy that because it's really not, it gives Jalen more like integrity. It
Yeah.
gives the offense more integrity. It shows that, yeah, we can literally run a few plays that we don't have to lean straight into the tush push. Um, and I do think we could just run a regular QB sneak. Jalen
Yeah.
literally benches, he literally squats 600 pounds. about 600 pounds, and you have a strong line. You don't have to like push him straight through. He's as strong as Josh Allen. He's one of the strongest QBs in the league in general. So I don't. It's gotten to a point where yeah, I'm like, this is an injury risk. And after seeing the false starts, I'm like, they're gonna. This is we already have a very very hurt O line. I don't need a bunch of 10-yard penalties anymore, 5-yard penalties constantly. So I can see where you're coming from, Don. I totally agree that it's going to get phased out, and it's being phased out of the Eagles' offense. And um, I wouldn't even contest letting it just
Yeah.
get banned. I wouldn't really contest that because it's pretty much from my perspective, it looks like an injury risk because once you start
Yeah.
hitting people's knees, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The two games that really highlighted for me are ironically the ones versus the Giants because there was the one where they ran it
Yep.
4 times in a row, and then the second one with the Kayvon fumble.
The fumble,
That-
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some BS.
That makes us so. That's the one thing I would say. If they don't want to ban it, they need to
Mhm.
change the rules and actually call it fairly with like what forward progress when they're actually down. Like they need to actually have an outline rule. It sounds silly, but it's a big play that I feel like that they need to have outline rules, or
Mhm.
they just ban it as a whole. That's what I'll say. But
No, I mean they said they were gonna, start calling the false starts, bro. At this point, just ban it. It's also like it's not football. Like you got fullbacks shoving their fingers up their quarterback's
Mhm.
butt. Like honestly, bro, nobody wants to watch that. I would rather, as a Saquon fantasy holder, I'd rather have Saquon just running a touchdown. Like I'm sick and tired of
Yeah.
it, bro.
Yeah.
Or run like
And I do think like if we just let Saquon do that last year, he'd
Yeah.
have like 20 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He'd have 20 rushing touchdowns.
for your
Like
sake
he'd
alone, it would help
really,
Jalen Hurts' agenda
yeah.
too. It would help. It would
And not
better
even
Yes,
Jalen
that.
it
Hurts' agenda if
would.
they got
I
rid of it.
told you it
Hurts.
keeps his integrity. It keeps his integrity.
Yeah.
It keeps
Yeah.
his integrity. Yeah.
And not even just that, like NFL playing NFL defense is already hard enough. Like it's
Yeah.
already hard enough, and they just make it impossible at
Mhm.
times. I swear. Like you got to be literally perfect to play defense, but now you
Mhm.
have to stop every single time. If they get to 3rd and 2, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
It's gonna
Yeah, literally, it's already so hard. With the new kickoff rules too. Like I actually I
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
these rules so much. I miss like the old NFL where you start at the 25, you have to actually work for your touchdowns, you got to work for your field goals, you got to work to get points.
Mhm.
But the one thing I will say is the field position game is now like more opponent play, and that's why I did actually kind of like the Eagles Packers game. It was definitely very interesting. It's like old school football. But
yeah, so this was a bit of a different episode, just breaking down our teams, but a lot was important going on. The Giants firing Brian Daboll, AJ Brown going on a Twitch stream and saying it's horrible right now and he doesn't like the Eagles offense.
Yeah. Not say that. He said some other stuff. He said a lot of other stuff.
And we'll see. We will see what comes of that. We'll see what comes of Seahawks Rams. It's going to be a
belt
big
to
game
ass, belt to ass.
Eagles Lions, big game. And next week we'll be back talking basketball, and in 2 weeks we'll have football again. So thank you everyone for watching the Triple Threat podcast, and it's been an honor. And we'll see you guys next time.